Hi everyone, Kelly here, and since it is middle grade March, I wanted to do some videos where I talk about middle grade books. And I had seen this video on Krista's channel, Books and Jams, and it's basically talking about middle grade books with titles from A to Z. And I was going to do it where I'm going to talk about only books that are on my physical TBR. So this is books that I own that I really want to read. And since, we're going to be talking about 26 books, I'm just going to be giving really short, buzzword kind of synopsis instead of going into a full synopsis. But hopefully you'll find some books you hadn't heard about, or, just enjoy looking at pretty middle grade covers. But yeah, these are books that I own that I would really like to read soon in alphabetical order. So first, for the letter A, I have A Dash of Trouble by Anna Mariano, and this is from the series Love, Sugar, Magic, and this is about a family of brujas, which are witches of Mexican heritage, and they have baking magic. And then for B, I have Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson. And this is a memoir that she wrote in verse, so it's written in poetry about her time growing up in the 1960s and 70s as an African-American girl. For C, I have Castle Hangnail by Ursula Vernon. And this is about a witch who takes over this castle and has all these little magical beings as her minions. And Ursula Vernon just has a really great sense of humor. For D, I have Dragons in a Bag by Zetta Elliott, and this is one that's a little shorter and more of a early chapter book and with pictures and things, and so I want to read this with my daughter. And this is about a boy who goes to his babysitter, who is just, everyone calls her Ma, and it turns out she's a witch and has some little dragons in a bag that she needs help returning to their family. For the letter E, I have Emperor Mage by Tamara Pierce. This is the third in the Immortals Quartet. So just in general, the series follows a girl named Dane who can talk to animals with her mind and has some magic that makes it so that she can connect with the animals. For F, I have Finding Langston by Lisa Klein Ransom, and this takes place during the Great Migration and a boy who moves to the north and finds kind of comfort in the library and in the poetry of Langston Hughes. For the letter G, I have Gregor the Overlander by Suzanne Collins. This is the author of The Hunger Games, and this is about a boy who finds out there's a portal to the Underland in his apartment, and there are a bunch of creatures that live down there, and he finds out that there's a prophecy that connects him to the Underland, and he plays a big role in this battle that's happening there. For H, I have another early chapter book I want to read with my daughter. This is How Tia Lola Came to Visit / Stay by Julia Alvarez, and this is about I think it's a boy, yeah, it's a young boy whose aunt comes to visit them from the Dominican Republic, and he's not sure if he wants his aunt to stay because, she doesn't speak English, and she makes it so he stands out with his classmates, and then it turns out that maybe he does like having his aunt around. For I have In Darkling Wood by Emma Carroll, and this is about a girl who is staying with her grandmother in kind of a big mansion, and there is a mysterious woods outside that her grandmother doesn't want her to go in, and maybe there are some creatures and things living in there that she gets to explore. For J, I have Juniper Berry by M.P. Kozlowski, and this is about a young girl who feels like her parents aren't quite what they used to be, and that something strange is going on, and as she ventures out into the sinister woods, she finds out that maybe she's right and there are some weird things going on in her town. For the letter K, I cheated a little bit and I went with Keeper of the Lost Cities Nightfall by Shannon Messenger, and Keeper of the Lost Cities is the name of the series, but I didn't have any other Ks other than the series name, and I believe this is book 6 in the Keeper of the Lost series. This is the next one I have to read, and this is about a young girl who finds out there's a whole world that she didn't know about that she actually belongs to, and that she isn't a normal human girl. For L, I have The Legend of Skeleton Man by Joseph Bruchac. And this is actually a combination of both books and a duology about Skeleton Man. And this is about a girl who lives on the reservation with her father, and he's always told her stories about this creature, the Skeleton Man. And then her parents disappear and spooky things start to happen, and she wonders if the Skeleton Man is actually real. And then for M, I have More to the Story by Hina Han. And this is a Little Women retelling with a family of Muslim girls. For the letter N, I have The Night Diary by Veera Hiranandani. And this is taking place in the 1940s when India is newly freed from British rule and they split Pakistan and India as a family that's trying to flee to safety. And it's all told in diary entries. For O, I have The Ocean Within by V.M. Caldwell, and this is about a girl who is in foster care and she's just placed with this big boisterous family and she doesn't really feel like she wants to connect with them because she's gone through so many foster families in the past and isn't sure if this is going to become her forever home. And then she starts making a connection with the family's grandmother. For P, I have Peter Nimble and His Fantastic Eyes by Jonathan Auxier, and this is about an orphan who is blind and he's also a thief, and then one day he finds some fantastical eyes and goes on an adventure. For the letter Q, I actually had one for the letter Q. I have The Quilt Walk by Sandra Dallas, and this is about a family who is moving west in the 1860s. So they're in a covered wagon traveling west, and her grandmother feels like she needs to learn how to sew, and so she is learning how to quilt on her journey to the west in order to settle. For R, I have Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry by Mildred T. Taylor, and this is about a family who is dealing with racism during the Depression and how they stick together and learn to be strong during that. For S, I have Stella by Starlight by Sharon M. Draper, and this is about a family who lives in the segregated South, and Stella one day sees something in the night. She goes out walking in the night and sees something that she's not supposed to see that causes a tumult in her town. For the letter T, I have Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia, and this is about a boy who is trying to get something back and ends up punching a hole in a tree that opens up this big chasm to another world, and this is based off of both mythology from Black America and from Western Africa and combining the two. And for the letter U, I have Till Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth by Sheila O'Connor, and this is about a girl during the time of the Vietnam War. She gets a paper route and she's getting to know all the people except for one man who refuses to come out of his house, and so she starts writing letters to him. So this is, I believe, a epistolary novel of her writing letters back and forth with this lonely neighbor. And then for the letter V, I have The Voyage of the Dawn Treader by C.S. Lewis. This is part of the Chronicles of Narnia series, and this is the next one that we have to read as a family, and we're really excited because we have been reading them with our daughter, our 7-year-old, and we're ready to read the next one in the series. For W, I have When the Sea Turned to Silver by Grace Lin, and this has a lot of Chinese mythology spread throughout, and this is about a girl whose grandmother has always been telling her stories throughout her life, and then her grandmother is kidnapped and she has to go with a friend to go and save her grandmother. And then with the letters XYZ, I gave myself a little liberty to just pick ones that had those letters somewhere in the title because I didn't have any that were started with X, Y, and Z. So for X, I have The Extraordinary Colors of Auden Dare by Zillah Bethel. And this is about a boy, Auden Dare, who cannot see colors. And this is a sci-fi dystopian that takes place in a time where water is very scarce, and they are going to try to help their community and find this robot. And they don't know whether the robot was made as like a war weapon or whether he is there to help save the world. For Y, I have The Mighty Miss Malone by Christopher Paul Curtis. This is a really popular middle grade author, and I've just been meaning to read something by him. And this is about a family during the Depression and them trying to survive and the father trying to find work and things like that. And then finally for the letter Z, I have My Life with the Chimpanzees by Jane Goodall. And this is, I think, the only nonfiction I have in the entire pile. And this is just a memoir that she wrote for a younger audience. It does have like pictures and things throughout and just talks about when she was living with chimpanzees during her research. And that's it. Those are books that I own from each letter of the alphabet that I'm really excited about reading. If you have read any of these and you enjoyed them, please let me know because then I can bump them up on my TBR and read them soon. I tried to not put any in here that I had on my TBR for this month during Middle Grade March, so these are just ones that I will be hoping to read sometime soon, and some of them I will be reading with my kids as well. I would love to see this tag done by other people, and you can do it whether you talk about books on your physical TBR or just ones that you are interested in and don't own yet, or books from the library or whatever. But I would love to see more people do it because it just, you know, introduces books that I might not have heard of before or might not have seen around or other people talk about. So if you have a channel, I would love to see what you would put for these, or if you have books that you think fit some of the more rare letters and want to tell me about them, I'd love to hear from you down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.